Everybody's here. That's. Please stand to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Item number 2 on the agenda, roll call. Stacy, please.
Mr. Albrecht.
Here.
Baslow. Here. Day.
Here.
Gurecki. Storano.
Here.
Warnsack.
Here.
Bono.
I'm here on the phone.
Okay. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, minutes in your guide. Oh, I'm sorry. John with a mission statement. Thank you.
The Herkimer County Industrial Development Agency delivers economic incentives to business and industry to diversify and strengthen Herkimer County's tax base and enhance community vitality by supporting job creation, business and industrial development, and community revitalization. We strive to develop the local economy in an organized, sustainable, and environmentally beneficial manner.
Item number 4, on minutes you can see in your agenda 1 through 6, pages 1 through 6. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to take a look at those. Any questions, comments, concerns? If not, we'd like to have a motion, please, to accept the minutes. Tim, second by Mike. Got any comments on any of that? Nope. On the floor? No? Okay. Item number 5, August financial report. Pages 7 through 14. John, you want to lead us?
Sure, everything's looking good. We don't have anybody who hasn't paid any of their loans. We actually have 2. Everything's up to date with those. We should be, for the next meeting, most likely depositing a couple checks, one for Clear Path, that's in escrow now. And then the Calucci property closed, so we'll be seeing that next month as well. But everything else is standard. Everything else looks good.
Can I have a motion, please, to accept the financial reports? Tim Milano with the second. Thank you. Item number 6. On the financial report. Okay, any discussion? Okay. And we're gonna vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And those against? Any opposed? Okay, carried.
Mr. Music, just a point of order, you better do that on your minutes, speak. You got a second, you got a motion to second, you vote on your minutes.
On the minutes, too.
I don't want you to get jammed up.
Okay, can we do that? Yeah, do that. Okay, circling back to item number 4 on the minutes. Like to have a vote, please. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Item number 6, small business loan and grant funds. Over to Ms. Adams, please.
So we did receive the official authorization to proceed with the CARES grant. So we are able to now accept applications for the program. I have received upwards of 15 emails, phone calls, owners contacting me with interest in the program. Pretty much everyone that I work with on the micro enterprise has reached out to me inquiring about this grant. So upon the release of the press release, the phone started ringing, the emails started coming in. So we had a lot of interest right off the bat, which is wonderful. I've actually received 2 preliminary applications. However, both of them we're working with to get all of the additional documentation, the tax forms, all of the backup for the cost documentation, those type of things. So we are rolling. We actually may need to group some of these together for the timeline, just to keep things moving ahead in an efficient pace. And we may request a special meeting at some point just to keep things moving along, because we do only have until June of next year to expend all of the funds for this.
Can you share with us
I got one from Ricky Contracting, which we did give money for the micro enterprise, and the other one is for Scobie's Pizzeria in Little Falls. So Alex there. Yep. So, really nice guy. I've not worked with him before, but so hopefully we can help him. Oh, yeah.
Long hot pepperoni,
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning. Such a deal.
So Erin has been working with me to help create a flyer, do the program guidelines and the press release. She's been posting information on social media to get information out there to everyone. So if you all know of anyone interested, don't hesitate to give my direct contact information and I'm happy to help anybody out.
There are some rules though, right, Victoria? So people have to be
Yeah.
available, that it's just not being handed out. So we do have some strict rules that we do need to follow, and every one of those, after the process happens, we do have to have it go through our loan committee, voted on by our board, sent in the CDBG, sent in the Housing and Community Renewal for review. So it is a process, it doesn't happen. So everyone should be aware of that.
So we did have a lot of initial interest and we talked with Erin, and once we kind of some of that initial excitement dies down, we'll work to do some outreach to specific targets if those applications don't start coming in.
Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome.
Did you talk about?
I did not say anything about the 222. I have had a couple of inquiries about the program. Unfortunately, there's just not enough funds to support an application. I try to give alternative solutions whenever possible to connect them with someone that may be able to help them.
Just one other thing on the CARES money, we are working with the Small Business Development Center as well out of Utica. They'll work with the individual companies and help them with their letter of need, which is critical to this grant as well. Without that letter of need, the Housing and Community Renewal will not move ahead with the project. So those are just some things that people have to be aware of. There is a small window on this right now. We're hoping that we can get an extension, but we're not sure. But, you know, to hand out $480, whatever the number is, $1,000, it's a process. So, you know, we might have to have some other meetings too, just so everybody knows, or we'll just come in to approve those or something. Did anyone have questions on that grant at all?
With that, thank you. Item number 7, marketing update. Erin Spina, please.
Mine's a presentation.
So this is the first time we're doing this, so we're excited to do it. Well, I'm excited to do it. Mr. Bono, can you see that okay?
Yes, I can.
Great, thank
Okay. So I've been working with Victoria on marketing stuff for the CARES grant. So I put together a flyer and then the press release that's been put out.
you. It's pretty much, just slow down for a second. Yeah, so we did get some great press out of the, I don't even know what we should call that. But we got some good press out of it. We also got some TV and radio time out of it as well, and we did a lot on social media. I shouldn't say we, Erin did a lot on social media. But to get the press release out was very good too.
Sorry. Okay, so also like a week or two ago, I went with John to the Duofold site and took some pictures. A couple of those were also put on social media.
So what, just to elaborate a little more, we had a developer come in with his not his, but a construction firm that's very familiar with brownfields and stabilization and rehab of these facilities. And one of the best things they told us was that they were not, they didn't see anything that they haven't seen before. And in fact, they've seen a lot worse. And they did like the way that the building was still strong, the bones on the outside, and how this building was built, that when it came in on itself, it didn't cause any damage to the walls. It does need to be stabilized soon. And last night we were in the village of Ilion finalizing a restore grant that can help with that. With a restore grant, not everybody, after they receive, you sent in an initial submission, not everybody received going back that they could continue. And the state is very familiar with this site, so we're very hopeful that we'll see that money. It's a program that's been around a while, disappeared for a while, but now came back. But they've already talked with SHPO about beam replacement, different types of materials they could use to make it look like it was still historic. Different ideas for the floors. We even went down into the basement. We got in a different way. Mr. Bono helped us get into a different way. So if anybody ever needs a B&E specialist, we'll breaking and entering guy, Bono's your man. But it was a good opportunity to meet with some big construction people that understood things like that.
I also made just a couple website changes. We have a ton of new pictures for the Skylar Business Park, so I just put those on the front homepage.
Can you just tell everybody what we're doing now too, with the seasons and everything else?
We're having him take more pictures once the leaves start to change at the Skylar Business Park.
Of all of the parks, we're working with Dave Warner out of Little Falls. He's an excellent video and drone photographer. And yesterday we all met with him, and he's going to go to each park during the seasons and do upgrades for us on a regular basis so we can continually update our website. We feel as though that even though, say, Frankfurt South is full and so is North and soon to be Skylar, that to show that we build parks in a quick period of time really do help with developers.
I also created a QR code that if you scan it, it takes you directly to our website that we're going to start putting on flyers and different like fact sheets and stuff.
So what you're seeing now with a lot of companies out there and a lot of, you were even watching the football game and they say, scan this QR code and you can win a Pepsi or whatever it is. But now it was great. Aaron could create our own now. So anybody who scans in ours, as she mentioned, will go to our website. So I think it'll make it a lot easier for development. And when we do these flyers now, they won't have to be as packed. You can see what's on there and it will take you right to the website and see what else we've done. So it's just the way that we see things change.
This is just general Facebook and LinkedIn statistics and stuff. Everything's pretty much increasing as it has been. So.
No, we'll wait on that for a second.
Okay.
So she's done with that part of it. That's okay.
Okay. Marketing updates complete. Item number 8, Skylar Business Park entryway sign. Aaron and Jeff.
You know, they met with one of the sign individuals, and Aaron has reached out to a couple other manufacturers of signs. After the sign committee came back, which is yourself, Jimmy and Nan, you were more interested in this type of sign, and we talked with the person who did some sign work for us before, and also a couple of firms out of Syracuse that we got from an architect that we had look at this just to see what they thought. The original signs that we had in all the park were around $15,000 to $18,000, and we saw how good those last. We're probably looking at a cost here of about $35,000 to $40,000 for a sign that'll last a while. I know we don't look at it that way, but if you want a park sign, it's going to be some money to it. This one will be raised off the ground for snow. It'll also be electric, and it'll maintain very well for the next 20 years. So just something we wanted you all to take a look at. We haven't gotten firm quotes yet. Everybody we talk to, though, does tell us that materials and everything do take a long time. So we're probably looking at 15 to 18 weeks to get any type of sign. But once we get all the quoting in and everything, we'll distribute it to you all. No, we're not. We just wanted to show you where the location of the sign would be as well. We'll be talking about that purple property very soon. And that's where that sign will be, right off the road. It'll be solar to start, but then once the purple property gets developed, we're gonna ask to tie into their electric that sign. So we've already been asked by Pepsi and Fountainhead when we would have a sign up. Does anybody have any questions on the sign at all? Mr. Bono?
John, maybe possibly we could get the state to put up some signs on Route 5, just to say business park ahead or something like that, to give people a pre-warning that the park is coming, because the sign where we're putting it, you really have to enter the park and that'll tell you who's there. But as far as seeing it from 5, it's a little distance there, and it all depends on how big those individual signs are. I don't know if people are going to be able to see that. So maybe we can petition the state to put up some kind of, on both sides, eastbound and westbound, business park ahead. I just thought of that.
That was good. That's a very good thought, Mr. Bono. That will be discussed when we have a meeting with them. They requested an update on the park for traffic and what other development was happening there. So we're gonna have a meeting with them after Delta creates that. We cannot put a sign, right now we have a sign up that probably shouldn't be up on the road. And they haven't questioned that or asked us to move it because they know it's not a permanent sign. So we've been okay with that, but you're correct. They will not let us put a sign in that triangle. So we have to put it down there. So, but yeah, we brought up already, we had that listed to put business park ahead, just so people would know. And one other thing, when it talks about trucking too, I know it's another topic, but just briefly, last night I was at a meeting for the Frankfurt comprehensive plan, and we discussed truck routes and things. So that should help alleviate the issues with Tractor Supply and things like that, because they're not going to allow trucks in certain parts of Main Street and certain areas that they won't be able to turn. So, and there'll be more signage up and things like that. So just so I know it was important to some of the people from Tractor and the surrounding.
Okay, thanks, John. Any more questions regarding the sign? Okay. Solar project, page number 15. We have an aerial view of a map there. John, want to lead us through that, please?
Sure. We received a call 2 weeks ago from a person that wanted to have an opportunity to put some solar in Skyler. That area right there is no use to really economic development. We've been back in there with Emmerich survey. It's hilly. There'll have to be a lot of tree removal, but that'll all be on them. They're looking for 30 to 35 acres. I think what we should really do today is do a vote to move it ahead, to bring it towards Tony, to bring it to Tony Halleck to see what type of arrangement we can make. Can we lease the property? Do we have to sell it? I personally would like to see if we can lease it and get revenue for the next 15 years. Or as long as he wants to lease it. We know we don't do a pilot longer for the solar. But in things, find out about the pilot. I know Tony's done a little research, but I would like to make sure we're all on the same page to move ahead.
I think that changes if we lease the property. We're gonna have to go longer with the property. So we can deviate.
Well, I agree with, but I think that we would like something more formal from you maybe before the next meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think we need to vote as a group ahead to bring it to you. So everybody's on the same page that we're moving ahead with it. 30 to 35. And where they'll get, like, you see where the cul-de-sac is there up at Kenneth Dodge, that's where they'll gain exit. I can show you, Jen. That's where they'll gain entrance up into those hills, so they'll have an entrance there. And they'll have to bring the power line to their left up Route 5 to tie into the system. We do have another company that's been interested in running a transmission line through that area, but we haven't really worked things out. Their project hasn't passed. But without him getting an agreement from us with the opportunity to lease that land, he can't move forward with National Grid or NYSERDA. So that's where we stand right now. It's just a vote right now and to move it ahead to Tony to get all the information back from him. So we can either make a decision before our next meeting or by our next meeting, so that gentleman can move ahead.
So we're looking for a motion to move this ahead to Tony. Motion, Mike, a second, John, thank you. And Stacy, we're gonna do a roll when you're
Okay,
available.
ready now?
Yes, please.
Discussion. Okay, Albrecht,
Yes.
Aslo.
Yeah.
Day.
Yes.
Ricky's absent. Scarano.
Yeah.
Mornzak.
Yes.
And Bonos, not eligible to vote. So we have 4 yeses.
Great, thank you. Item number 9, Manheim Business Park, page 16 in your guide. John, you want to lead us through Mike Emmerich, land surveying? please?
So in order to get a lot of the things that were needed to move ahead with running the water and sewer down there, we needed to do some additional studies, additional surveys, look at the actual locations of the utilities and mark them. So we had through Delta Emmerich do this, so I'm just looking for approval so we can pay them the $88.70.
Yes, you have a motion? Tim? In second? Yeah. Yes, thank you. Project East, pages 17 and 18.
You gotta vote.
We're doing roll.
No.
We're gonna roll for each one.
No, only for the solar, we're not, it's just a, yeah, it's just a.
You want to do the roll here for the Emmerich?
Okay, for the average, no, just.
For the second one?
Yeah, yeah, the first one needs to be voted on.
Okay. Those are everyone in favor? Aye. Those against? Okay, carried, thank you. Project East, page 17 and 18.
Okay, the entire agreement, we did not hand out, however, we will, if anybody wants to see it, you can definitely take a look at it. It's for the almost 30 acres in the town of Manheim, the village of Dollarville now. It's a 15,000 per acre property. They agreed to the 15,000. They will be submitting a $40,000 down payment to our attorney Hodgkin Russ on this project. And we already agreed at the price, I believe, at a previous meeting, correct?
Yeah.
So now we're just supporting the actual purchase agreement. They have signed it, we have signed, or we anticipate them to sign it once they go this past today.
Okay. Looking for a motion, please. Mike, a second. Tim Day. And Stacy, we're gonna do a roll call. Any discussion about that?
This is the outfit from New York City, right?
Yeah, and what we can do in executive session, because they did not submit an application yet. We'll go through each of the projects we're discussing today in depth in executive session, because they're still in the negotiation with the contract, sorry. Application. Blue right here.
Okay, Mr. Albrecht,
Yes.
Aslo.
Yeah.
Day,
Yes.
Ricky absent. Scarano,
Yes.
Mornzak,
Yes.
Bono absent. Okay, yes, 4 yeses.
Thank you.
Or it should be mine.
Yes, pardon me. 5.
Yes, I am social. Put that in my LinkedIn. Social.
Social influence.
Item number 10, a review of the solar photovoltaic policy, pages 19 through 21.
So I'm sure you all had a chance to read this riveting new policy that we have in place. We worked with Hodgkin Russ on developing this. And we went out to all of the communities, the 30 municipalities, the school districts, and the county, and asked for input. We received from 2. The county had some good questions there, and we'll work with Hodgkin Russ on those. And Mannheim pretty much just did some spelling checks and decided to change some of the wording they thought needed to be to make it simpler. I'm really not sure where their attorney was coming from with that, but that's a cost they had to bear, not us. So with that being said, we've already approved it. Correct, we've already approved this, the UTEP on this. We just had to open it up for public input, so we have that. So we'll be moving ahead with this policy going forward. One of the ones that I'm a little shocked that we heard nothing from was the town of Columbia, because of the size of that project. We thought we'd hear some input. It's a 350 megawatt project, but we did not get anything back. So quite interesting. So that was just for information. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Okay, item number 11, ID Academy, Utica, New York, pages 22 through 24. John? No? Stacy? Stephen?
Okay,
Your name's on there too.
the Fall IDA Academy is actually going to be held in Utica this year. So you are all invited. In the morning session, you will see the authority's budget office. The ABO will be having the training for the IDA staff and board. So if you attend that, you will be good for another 3 years. I did check our list, and next February, Mike and Ann will be coming up for renewal. And in May, John, you will be. So we welcome you to join us. We did do a sponsorship through the agency, and it includes 4 registrations. So it actually includes 5. So we have an opening for 1 more, and we would bear the cost of the registration and we would like to attend. Doesn't come this close that often, so here's a great opportunity. We learn something new every time we go. It's just good networking and getting to meet other agencies, and it's always a good event, so.
We'll
You're
definitely learn something new if you look at page 23, a little past halfway down, one of the speakers is very informative. Very informative, so I would recommend highly you attend just for his presentation.
That's Jen, the moderator, that was Benjamin, that one used to be,
That is her, yes.
she's not there anymore, right?
No, she actually works for this Marathon Communications now. She's just
Very
as
good.
personable there.
Yeah.
So, but I was pointing more down to the site.
No, I know.
So we figured because they're local, we want to sponsor. It's $1,000 sponsorship, plus comes the 5 complimentary registrations, as Stacy mentioned. And, you know, just being so local. Also, this is the day before Veterans Day, so we will not be working the day after this, and encourage all of you to join us for cocktails afterwards. So just adding that to it as well. But I mean, instead of sitting on the seminar that most of you have watched online, it's very interactive and things when they do it live like this, and we've been lucky to have that. Plus, some of the other speakers coming to our area will be very good. So we need a motion.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to support the IDA Academy, please. Mike Mornzak, and second, Tim Day. All in favor? Any against? And any discussion? Carried.
So please just let us know if you plan on attending so we can register you for this. Okay, thank you.
Okay. You're good with that one, John?
We are very good with that one.
Okay, item number,
The guest speaker, the speaker.
item number 12, Masonic Building. Over to John.
Okay, couple things happened. Yesterday I drove by the Masonic and I noticed the padlocks were ripped off of there. So we were afraid that homeless people were moving in. We do not have any vested ownership in the building right now. Or do we have rights to get on there? I know the county is working on us to get site access. But I did contact the village, and yesterday they had the police go through and make sure no one was in there before they boarded up the front. So that was a positive, because you never want to board up a building before you look in there. Secondly, myself, Mr. Bono, Mr. Wallace had a meeting a couple weeks ago with the Herkimer 9 representatives of Scott Flansburgh, his sister, and Chris Connolly, who used to be the historic director. And we talked about the Masonic and projects, and it got to the point where, I thought it was kind of funny, but the Herkimer 9 said they agreed to back away from the Masonic building. And I mean, it didn't matter, but it was kind of interesting when he said it. Then he proceeded to tell all three of us, and Mr. Bono, Mr. Wallace, if I'm missing anything, please feel free to interject. That they would be happy to give us the documentation and what they received them there from the Masonic building, the phase 1, 2, asbestos, whatever other data, because he told us he spent $61,000 on everything. And of course, being another business too, we always encourage that. We do that throughout the other communities. I've repeatedly asked for all the information on it, and finally received. I asked for an invoice, a statement of payment, canceled checks, how they went about it, because we'll be asked the same thing from auditors when we pay. Didn't get anything. Finally received from what you have in your packet from Jim Blasting, a note that says he talked to the board of the Herkimer 9, and they agreed to let us work with him on the project, and we owed him $31,000. I thought that was quite interesting. For the phase 1, phase 2, but I'll explain something to you on that in a minute. But where was the $61,000? I was quite interested in that number. And then you all probably remember when we talked a lot about phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is really only good for about a year. And then when you do a phase 2, any changes you make in it, say if there is a spill, they report it to the DEC. They either correct it, close it, or ongoing. And they closed it because there wasn't really a big enough spill there. So all of that will be found in the new phase 1. So there really is no point in buying their phase 1 or phase 2 study. And then also too, they did an asbestos study that our current contractor that we use said that was a very expensive amount for that size building and that age of building for an asbestos study. I cannot tell them, no, I would like the board to support the action that we do not purchase anything from them, and that we go and get our own phase 1 study done, which we will do when we have the rights to get into the facility. But until then, and then at that time, we'll have them do a general asbestos just to look, see, and give us a rough idea on what they think it would cost.
Who currently controls the building?
The owner of the property, and Trevisani, the same gentleman who owns the Marine Midland building. He also owns Morris's and Gallinger Drug too. And he's not doing anything with it. So Anthony Halleck has reached out to him with no reply at all. But I know that the county's working on their end to see what they can do. Did I get the story right, Mr. Wallace, Mr. Bono?
Correct, on
Yes.
my end.
Correct on my end as well, John.
Okay, thank you.
And they're asking us to pay just to see their documents.
Just to,
basically.
yes, which are outdated already.
Right.
They
Maybe
show you,
before?
I'm sorry.
No. No,
They show you that they actually paid for these?
No, they did not pay for those. If you read it here,
Oh, they have to pay
Jim
for
Blasting said he got the permission from the board to come to us and work with us for the payment of those documents. When we sat in the meeting, we were told, oh, we paid this, we did this, we spent all this money, which I believed. I mean, because we've seen people working and doing different things. Myself and Mr. Bono attended a meeting after that on a whole nother topic, and we were told that we were going to be asked to take the Quackenbush building back as well. I'm not sure, we have not been asked that yet, but my initial email from Mr. Blasting was, I understand that you want all the documentation on the Quackenbush and the Masonic, and I said, no, I'm sorry, just the Masonic. So I have a feeling that that wasn't paid for.
they have the work done. but they-
Yes, but they never paid. So what we're looking for today is the support, the motion for us to move ahead with the phase 1 study at $3,250 to be done by HRP, which will be done not until the county through the courts get permission for us to get on the property.
What liability? I mean, if we do the study, I mean, we're only liable for cost of the study. We're not liable for any of the building.
No, but we can't disrupt anything in a phase one either. Even if we did a phase two and we drilled holes, we have to replace that. So for an example, if we think the contamination went under the building, even if it's a small building, we can't tear that down in the phase two to do it only if we have ownership.
I don't see any ownership of any building.
Not today, we don't.
Right.
But when we will after we see what's going on there. So one of my concerns, well, let's vote on this first, if that's okay. Questions are still good on that. So I wanted everyone to see, after we had these meetings, myself, Mr. Bono, Mr. Wallace, to make sure that everybody knew the whole story behind it. So in case you're asked, why didn't you just buy theirs? Or what are you doing, John? They had this all done. It's outdated first off. And with what they've done in phase two, that'll update our findings with the DEC. They didn't send anything to the EPA, but the DEC as far as whatever spill they said they located. So we will get all of that data in our new phase one, which before we would assume anything with that building, we need to have that within a year in order to be eligible for grants. So you always have to keep that in mind. Whenever we're looking at brownfields and opportunities for grants, we have to have those as close as possible.
Who did they use for these studies?
They used Jim Blasting's firm, Ambient.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And,
he's a Herkimer native.
Yeah, do you know that one? Or you know?
I have not worked with that firm. I know he lives in the Virginia area, one of the Western Virginia, I don't know which one. And I have not used them. I can't say if they're good or bad. All I know is the reputation we have with HRP from all the studies and things we've done with them.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to support the HRP quote.
Yes.
Alana? Thank you. Second? John? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Okay. Any discussion? Carrie?
So John, excuse me, discussion. Do they know you're going to go ahead with your own little study?
Well, I told him I had to talk to my board, but I thought his things were outdated. So I can't,
And their response was?
nothing.
And the quote was enough for phase one.
No, I don't believe we'll need a phase two. Phase two is usually more like $8,000 to $12,000.
Okay.
So they said that they did a phase two and they found a leak and they reported it. We kind of looked already a little bit in documentation through DEC and found that that was true and that it was closed out. So that means there was no contaminant there of concern by the DEC. So I don't believe we'll need a phase two there now. I think the phase one will suffice, as well as while our guys are there, they've also done asbestos studies other places. They're gonna look around and see what they think. Because what was their asbestos cost, 19 grand or something? It was very high. And it didn't make sense on what they tested from what we could just see from the quoting. We didn't see the actual results of any test. Flansburgh wanted to give it to me and then they stopped it because I don't think he wanted people to know that it wasn't paid for. So it was not paid for. I asked anybody that's affiliated with the Herkimer 9, what am I missing? You know, is there something there that we're just not doing right? Or is there something I'm missing that anybody that we could really help? Because we feel as though anything can be done that'll benefit our community. No one can give me an answer. Some of the people that attended our insurrection that day, all of those 12 guys or 14 guys, I've asked a few of them and they said they were just asked to attend. They didn't. But that was quite. So I don't think, and I know Mr. Bono feels the same way. We met with him. We were all excited about the world's largest basketball. Where are you gonna put it? I got manufacturing buddies. Let's try to build this thing. It'll be an attraction. Let's start somewhere. And right now we were Jimmy Bono, how many times were we contacted by the Department of State to go mow that yard and to clean up around the Quackenbush property? Every
Yeah,
two.
multiple times.
And now the weeds are higher than we are over there. We were constantly always contacted. Now they're not bothered. I mean, the new mayor's looking into it, but they just stopped after that. And it needs to remain cleaned up. It's gonna be a board decision if y'all want to take Quackenbush back at some point. Now's not the point. But that is included in the BOA grant that we applied for. You know, I think there might be some conditions, but however, the good thing is, if Mr. Wallace knows this too, he worked with the assessor, right? And they lowered the assessed value.
Correct.
So that'll help what the county has to reimburse for 2 years because it is a taxable entity. And so after that, it's gonna fall back into limbo. And this is the center of Main Street, Herkimer. Do we want that to be that way? But that's not a decision we have to make today. It's just food for thought. No, I think we're done.
Good for 12? Good for 12, okay. Item number 13, Project Energy Purchase Agreement, page number 31. John?
Yeah, well, I just want to check with Tony really quick now because we did, everything's agreeable by them, right?
Absolutely correct, yes.
Okay, so we did include the whole contract once again. We'll get into further discussion on what's going to happen there because we have to work out our application and that'll happen in executive session. But I just want you to know, you see the purchase price there of $894,000 for the land. They will put in escrow, $89,400. They're buying the back properties along, what's the guy's name? George, Dunbar Road. It'll be about 50, 50 something, 58.6 acres. So we're looking to, Tony has checked everything, has worked with them, and we're just looking for the approval of it.
Question? Okay, motion? Ken? Second? Mike? Thank you. Stacy, roll call, please.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Laszlo,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gurecki absent, Scarano,
Yes.
Warnzak,
Yes.
and Bono absent. So 5 yes.
Okay. Good. Good job. Yeah. Okay. Item 14, Skylar, intent to purchase, page 32. Is that over to John?
So this is Skylar Convenience LLC, 6.3 acres right in the front of the park. Convenience store, about 500 or 5,000 square feet. Car wash, pumps for gas and diesel, and fuel storage in the backside of the property for home heating oil, natural gas, or not natural, propane, things along those lines. What we're looking for today is a vote for to accept their letter of intent and to move along and pass this to Mr. Halleck to start doing the due diligence on the actual land sale. And we have to discuss this further in executive session because of the application.
Any questions?
Is this a chain?
No, it is not.
What's the actual name? Skylar Convenience.
Right now, all we have is Skylar Convenient LLC.
Can I ask if they want?
You
Put you on the spot.
I guess what I'd rather do is get more into discussion in executive session, because that'll work off their application. Yeah, so it's better that maybe
What was
that,
the question?
he asked if they had additional ones, and I'd rather discuss
Oh.
that when we're talking about
Good
negotiation.
question.
Are we?
Yes, we're gonna vote to move ahead to have Tony do all of the due diligence.
Enter into a contract and approve that to the agency.
Oh.
Okay, so do we have a motion to support Skylar Convenience in the purchasing of the? Okay, John, thank you. Second, Nick, Mike.
Can I qualify that? I'd like the motion to read to enter into contract on terms that are satisfactory to the agency.
Yep.
I'll again move that. Appreciate that.
We have to do it.
Well,
We're doing it again?
It's okay.
John and Mike. Okay. In a roll call. Stacy, please.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Laszlo,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gurecki absent, Scarano,
Yes.
Warnzak,
Yes.
and Bono absent. Okay, 5 yeses.
Thank you. Item number 15, Project Elmer, intent to purchase, pages 33 and 34. John?
So this will give you an idea where that is, because I didn't think anybody would really quite get it, but around the back side of the property, across the street from the entrance to Ken Dodge Drive and across from Skylarwood Pellet is 3.6 acres. Once again, we'll discuss this further in executive session, but we're looking to do the same resolution we just did for Skylar LLC. And they're looking, it's about 3.6 acres at $54,000 to construct an 8,000 square foot facility.
We're looking for a motion to support this project, please. John, thank you. Second. Alana. And Stacy with the roll?
Albrecht,
Yes.
Laszlo,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
correct, Serrano,
Yes.
Warren Zach.
Yes.
Bono. Yes.
And item number 16, EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant, page 35. John, you want to tell us about that, please?
Sure. So we just included, I know we emailed everybody, but we just included the front page. We have to, after winning the $500,000 EPA assessment grant, we have to go out and get a contract. Someone, not a developer, environmental group, and to do some redevelopment planning similar to what we did with our previous one. We updated some of the terms in there due to the EPA's new rules. And here's our timeline on when we want to publish it. We've also sent it to the EPA for their comments. I don't believe we've heard anything back yet, but we've given her till the end of the week. So we would like to publish this on the 30th, get it back by the end of October, and put a contract in place by the end of November. We know that's a little aggressive, but we have quite a few projects that we want to utilize this grant for. And we do have quite a few different opportunities to send this RFP out to different potential bidders. So we're excited to move along with this. This being our second one, we're quite familiar with the process, and just looking for you all to vote to accept our RFP. Well, this will be, there's several brownfields in each community that'll want assessments 1 and 2. And as we do it, we'll be adding more to it as well. But once the RFP is set out, we will work with that winner to help solidify the properties and do all of those as well. But if anybody knows of any they'd like added to the list, we can do that as well. This also will help with redevelopment planning this time. So not only can we do a phase 1 and phase 2, we can get drawings and do a lot of things that'll help us work towards development.
Do we have a motion for EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant? Motion, please, Mike, second, Tim Day. Thank you. And Stacy with the roll?
Albrecht,
Yes.
Laszlo, Day,
Yes.
correct, Serrano,
Yes.
Warren Zach.
Yes.
Bono, absent. 5 yeses.
Item number 17, Project Zebra, workforce housing.
We are going to go into executive session for that one as well. But I wanted people to be aware, it's the contract negotiations. And we're updates and on Jessica. Okay, so I think something small. Okay.
I'd like to welcome elected officials that may be zooming in. Assemblyman Smolin, you can see his name up there. How are you? Any comments? Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. No comments. Appreciate you letting me listen in. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Wallace?
Yeah, guys, thank you for reaching out to us in the county about the solar. John, thanks to you and the board. We really appreciate you listening to us. You're not sure if there's any real great answers to that, but thank you for looking into it. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
Who else is up there? I can see. I see like Bill Weekly, right? Yeah. Bill Weekly.
Mr. Weekly, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
No, I don't. I apologize for getting in late. I had technical difficulties with my legislator iPad, so I'm on my personal one. So, no, thanks for the updates.
And Mr. Schrader's here.
Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing this and the board can write it. It doesn't, what will it mean? Well, I just want to know for myself. Well, you know that they didn't pay it. That's my own. Pardon? My own point. I want to know why things were saying, being told one way and well, factual now. Right.
Mr. Mayor,
Realize it. All right, so I can do the updates now. There's no, who's on the cell, do we know?
I'm not certain, I should maybe representative of someone's office, but I'm not certain.
Okay, Eastern Water Valley, water transmission line. We submitted our EFC grant, was roughly about $8 million. We should hear back from that on, other discussions, because they're not just award a grant, now the steps start flowing, no pun intended. We'll have many meetings before they award, so we'll keep everybody posted on that. We heard back from Central Bus, they do not want to come down Schuyler, Route 5 in any manner, from either direction, anywhere that they would like to go further in Herkimer County. If they did, they would want a bunch of our a 0.25% of our mortgage recording tax for the entire county. And that would mean everybody from the north to the south, east and west, and the bus wouldn't even cover all of that area, so it made no sense. So I reached out to Bernie Bus again. I have not heard. I'll keep following up with them. It took a long time to get them just to expand over to Tractor Supply, but we'll see what we can do here. Working with the DEC and Mike Emmerich on the flood plan along the Canal Mohawk River. I've seen plans that they never followed through that they should have, that changes Mohawk, Ilion, and Frankfurt on the floodplain, flood insurance. So that's going to change a lot of things. So we're really pushing ahead with that. There's a Boralex open house meeting that's in your handout, which is tomorrow from 3 to 7 up in Poland at the firehouse. Poland Fire Hall, but I believe that's in Cold Brook. They're gonna talk about the Newport solar project, but it's mostly in Oneida County. We had Mayor Butler here from Newport yesterday saying what he's heard is something different, but all the maps and even online, everything shows majority of that's still in Oneida County. But we have a pilot set in place. Whether we work with them on changing that or not, I'm not sure what we'll do. But we're going to attend that if you can. Main Street, I'm going to do, I like to call it a walkabout. I watched Crocodile Dundee the other day. I remember when he goes on those walkabouts. But I'm going to go with myself, most likely Mr. Bono, Mr. Growecki, the codes guy, and take a look at some of those buildings and what we can do to help with either the phase 1 or phase 2 or any structural assessments or anything to help with those. Because we're also bringing in the Department of State guy who we applied for the BOA. He's going to do a walk around with us too. So we're excited to see that move forward a little bit and help with some of those buildings. Tony is working on the Wilcor sales tax issue. They had a supply chain issue. They ordered it long before they closed on their not closed on their project, but long before their project terminated. And it was a supply chain issue why they didn't get things in time, where Tony's working with the state to figure out how we can support them, because it's not right. It's not their fault. They ordered it. We couldn't get it through, the shipping and how it came in. Newport School, we finished phase 1. I'll get that out to everybody. We're going to have a conversation soon on that. The gentleman who was in there is some structural issues, but I want to bring in one of our developers who does a lot and get his opinion on it before we, try to go look for money to tear it down, because I think it's a great looking building. I had a chance to go with Mr. Weekly not that long ago and how cool it would be for apartments. It's not far from Utica. It's right near the West Canada. There's many opportunities to put some high level housing in that area for that. Phase 1. Then I think I'm done, and I think we need to go in executive session.
Let's get on that Main Street or who cleaned up that Williams building? I mean, that was done like boom.
It was the village. The village had to get out there because it was deemed unsafe, of course, because it fell on that poor woman.
Right.
Who was from Herkimer too at the time. And now I believe she owns Park Ave and Caroline Street. But,
I was amazed
We're all
how quickly that got cleaned up.
Well,
I mean,
because-
you don't have to say that other things don't. but-
well, it didn't, they did, and he bonded and followed the process. She followed the process with that. Unlike the old Herkimer chief, that he never had them bond, they did what they thought they wanted to do and walked away. If they were bonded for the project, they would have had to tear it all down, but he didn't make them do that. So that will be torn down, I think, coming up pretty soon, right? Not like first of October or something.
Guaranteed to be all that.
So a lot of sites that we can work with the village and the county to get turned over either back to the village or a good developer. So like, I think the mayor has some plans for the old GH built parking area. Maybe like a different food truck there every week or something, get the property turned over to them, get it bringing more people downtown. You know, you can't really say, oh, you're affecting any of the restaurants. What restaurants are open at lunchtime? Really, that's a killer for us around here. So, and I think it would only help the hot dog guy across the street and anybody else that's trying to do some business on Main Street. So, yeah, so that's where we are with Dodgeville now, but we'll keep everybody on. Some of these
Okay.
things we can't talk about just yet, but when we can, of course, we'll let you all know.
Just like a motion to enter executive session, please. John? Mike with a second. All in favor? Aye. Any against? Carried.
So we'll shut off everybody else. Sorry, guys, just for some of these things we haven't been able to discuss. We had to sign an NDA. But Mr. Bono can still stay on. Can you make that work that way, Victoria?
So we're in executive session.
Negotiations.